Okay, we are live. This is the Velasquez Vlog Show. Today is November 18, 2020. We got, um, well, I don't know why it's backwards, huh? I just hope it doesn't come out backwards on the other side. Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Velasquez Vlog Show. Before we start, I want to say thank you to Hans for joining us today.
Hello, thank you for having me again, man. It's a lot of fun.
All right. Before I start, you already know what I do. Okay. I want to thank all my police officers, firefighters, veterans, active duty and reserve of the armed forces, Border Patrol, Homeland Security, FBI, CIA, DEA, ATF, and Special Ops for keeping our country and our Constitution safe. And their actions and their sacrifice help us sleep safe at night. No further ado, I'm noticing why is this normal? Um, or is it just right now? But the YouTube is showing like we're flipped. Uh, have you noticed that?
I had not noticed it, but I don't think it should be too big a difference, anyways.
No, it's not. But I just hope it doesn't reflect once the final product is recorded. So
Yes,
we'll see. We'll see.
we'll find out. Yeah.
Wow, incredible. Anyways, on today's topic, man. On today's topic, I want to talk about how coronavirus has impacted us as a society, and this is not just as Americans, but I think as an international event where like everybody's being influenced by it, not just the United States. Also, you got Europe, Africa, North, South, and Central America, and the Middle East. I mean, everywhere. This coronavirus has impacted everyone, and I wanted to talk about it to see if you or other people. Oh, by the way, guys, we also have a Zoom link on the chat. If you guys want to join us in the Zoom, go ahead and just chat, say something that you're gonna join in, so we can be aware that you guys are gonna show up and join us, and then we'll put you through. We'll put you through, and you guys can give your opinion, okay, on what we're talking about. So, Hans, since the pandemic started, how has the pandemic has influenced your life, at least this year?
Well, the pandemic, like you mentioned, has influenced everybody's lives in so many ways, infinite ways. The world is completely different because of it. So, in my own life, I just graduated from university,
Yeah,
so it's definitely a very unique time to enter the workforce. It's harder to get jobs for everybody right now. A lot of people are losing jobs, so there's a little bit of anxiety, just getting a job and surrounding all of that. And other than that, I mean, really, it's impacted every way of life, like the way we think about politics and the way even we watch sports. If you're watching the NFL right now or whatever sport you're watching, you could probably seeing that the crowds are either half full or less.
true.
So basically, every part of every life is impacted by the coronavirus, and it's really interesting. I think especially its long term impacts on education. Who knows how this could affect online university forever? It might be seen as more viable, whereas in the past online university was definitely seen lower on the hierarchy of education as opposed to in-person classes, but now I mean it's seen as just as valid, and this could be for quite a while. I know that for some universities in Texas they no longer require the GRE um, for the applications, and this is because it's less feasible to take the GRE because of the coronavirus. So it could definitely change education in so many other industries by a lot. Do you think that this will have a big impact on education, especially like early childhood education?
I think the since you already hit on the education part, absolutely. My daughter, I had to get her out of school, and we they had to learn via internet, online. And let me tell you, I wasn't a big fan of online school as well, and I'm still not. And I think this has influenced. I just hope it's just this year, because this will be a great impact in their education. This will be a mark that will be forever marked in their life. It's something that is gonna always be remembered in their lives. And my daughter just is not learning the same um, through Zoom. It's just not. I try to help her, but as much as I try to help her, it's not the same, because there are so many factors considered in education, especially when you come from a traditional face-to-face instruction.
Mm-hmm.
And the also interaction with other kids, socializing, I think also plays a huge factor, because you also develop other things as you socialize with people, not just learning, but in how to interact with others as well. Hey, can you go ahead and turn the volume off on that one? Yeah, just all the way down. Yeah, okay, that's perfect. Yeah, because that's very important for kids to interact, just like it's important for us as adults to interact, to get things done for our kids as well. And I just hope that this is over soon, so the kids can go ahead and go back to learning the way they used to.
Hopefully. One of the main questions I've had, because I don't know too many children in elementary school, but do you think that this, in your opinion, because she's learning over Zoom right now, and you said it's the quality of education isn't quite where it was in person, do you think that whenever this ends and everybody's back in class, that they're gonna have to make up some ground? Because I'm sure a lot of kids, it's not just your own daughter, but a lot of kids are less educated because they're not doing in-person classes. So do you think that they're gonna have to just catch everybody up?
Um, I, I don't know about that. I think there's gonna have to be I think something close to that. I think this is gonna be something designed that's close to what you're talking about. However, this is where you put certain people to the test, who can learn faster than others, who can learn in different ways than others,
Mm-hmm.
and who kept their solid education pattern and their style, education style up to date during this pandemic, and the people who actually, how can I say this? I don't want to say slack, but dropped. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to say dropped. It's more like, instead of going forward, they went backwards. How would you say that? Like,
I know exactly what you're
you know
talking
exactly
about.
what I'm
That
talking about. Like, I
they
don't want to
fell
say
behind a little bit.
retaining. I don't want to say retained, but people who lost the education level where they're supposed to be. So I think there's gonna have to be some kind of like extra. I don't want to say extra tutorials, because it sounds so negative, but
Mm-hmm.
the schools have to come out with something where, like, these kids that need to be up to speed for their grade, um, they're gonna have to come out with something to help them, because as parents, bro, you don't understand. As a parent, I struggle I struggle going to college, but during the time this happened, I was still going to college in my last semester, and I was helping her with her homework, with my homework. And I don't know if I had this professor, man, Steven Nelson, something like that. And this guy, instead of giving us less work, he gave us more work.
Uh,
Every week we had to turn in assignments. We had to do quizzes, exams, something. There's always something, bro. We always have to be reading a book. This was the most base. This is I don't want to say the hardest, but it was a very tough class to keep up with,
mm-hmm.
because because I was a parent, and then I had to help my daughter too. And it was just crazy, man. And it's gonna be crazy until they go back to school. They actually went back to school, okay. But the thing is that, with all this going on now at November 18, 2020, um, they want to close everything down again. So I feel like they trying to put everyone back at home, and to avoid the spread, But as a parent, I'm not happy,
Mm-hmm.
and that's more than just the education aspect of how the coronavirus has impacted us. And we're gonna talk about social distancing, about businesses,
Mm-hmm.
about social, mental health, emotional health. And of course, the coronavirus have taken lives, but it also taken lives in other ways. For example, depression,
Mm-hmm.
suicides have gone up, uh, drug abuse, so when you have people at home not being very productive, not being very interactive, what happens? Maybe also some family abuse. I mean, what's it called?
Domestic abuse.
Domestic abuse, exactly. So
Yeah,
domestic violence. Yeah.
I've actually I just yesterday I was reading an article in the Houston Chronicle, and it said that a lot of violent crimes are up. This year, there's, I believe, 60% more murders in 2020, and it's directly related to the pandemic as compared to other years. And then there's also far more domestic violence. So a lot of crimes, a lot of violent crimes are increasing, and this is due. I mean, the main variable that has changed is because of the coronavirus. Because of loss of jobs and all sorts of things. And now, while there are crimes that are going down, like there's fewer rapes this year. I'm talking specifically in Houston, but it's very interesting to see the way that so many different variables and so many different aspects of life are impacted by the coronavirus. So it's super unique. Yeah, the Houston Chronicle covered that just because we're saving lives in some aspects, like indirectly because of the coronavirus, we're also impacting lives in a lot of different ways. Like mental health, you said, yeah, there's signs that suicide rates are going up, and I mean, everybody is begging for reality to go back to normal. So hopefully it happens sooner rather than later. But if there even is a normal, I'm sure you've heard it 1,000 times, the new normal.
Yeah.
We're not there yet.
They're working on that vaccine. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully this vaccine, does what it's supposed to do. Now, before I get into the vaccine thing, okay,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I wanna, introduce our sponsors. Okay, Iron Gator Fitness. You want to train, you want to get fit. You want to eat healthier. Iron Gator Fitness. They will, guide you, and they will show you how to live a healthy lifestyle, and how to exercise for people who have never exercised in their life. I know there are a lot of people out there that want to do it. So Iron Gator Fitness, earn your sweat, and also Silver Plan Choice for people who are interested in getting a healthcare insurance, and life insurance, and and Medicare. Silver Plan Choice. Also, it's there to help here in the area, in the Houston area, and also Club Expo. You guys you guys are tired of being at home. You guys are tired, of not doing anything. You guys want to go out with your friends. You guys. I'm not saying go ahead and risk your life or your health or anyone else's, but if you guys are tired and you guys want to do it in a safe manner, go to Club Expo. Your life, your fun, your time. Okay, so I'm going back to the vaccines, man. I think that there's gonna be an issue with the people who are against vaccines. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, I don't know enough about the exact impact of what anti-vaxxers, what that'll have on the rest of society. But from what I understand, if there's enough people who get vaccines, those people will be covered. And I mean, the whole goal would be herd immunity. If all of us, or like if a lot of people get the vaccines, then eventually we won't have to worry about COVID-19 as much. It'll be like getting a flu shot every year. Hopefully that is what happens. But yeah, if there's a ton of people that are against the vaccine, then I guess those are the people that are going to continue to be affected by the coronavirus. So I think that it's just going to naturally come down to that. People that are against the vaccine will probably be the ones that get the coronavirus. But I'm eager, as long as the vaccine's covered by insurance and everything, and it's fairly cheap and fairly effective, then I look forward to getting it. What about you? Do you have any suspicions about how effective the vaccine could be?
You know, um, I heard it was gonna be free. At least that's what Trump said. Uh, the president said that it was gonna be free. Of course, not to the government, not to the taxpayers, but it's gonna be free for people who will have access to it. Um, you know, I'm a little iffy when it comes to vaccines because it's the first wave. Also because there's a lot of people who are not gonna want to take it, even if it's supposed to do what it's supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people like vaccines. A lot of people believe in the science and the medical advice from the experts when it comes to vaccines, but some people are just against it, no matter how you want to play it, no matter how you want to explain it, no matter how much science is behind something, you know. Uh, and then, for example, and also because there are some things that haven't been really fair with this pandemic as well, such as you can go protest, but you can't go to church. So you always got different views of everything that you want to change, everything you want to apply, everything you want to enforce. And when it comes to the vaccines, I think it's gonna have to be each citizen's decision to do it without. Biden said he wants to make it mandatory. I don't know who said. I don't know if it was Biden. I'll take that back. Somebody said they want to make it mandatory in the government. That's gonna be kind of hard because
Yes.
you're already breaking constitutional rights by trying to make everybody wear a mask everywhere you go. If it's their life, if they want to die, let them die. But if you have your mask, you have your mask. You are protected. If they don't want to be protected, I think that they should have the right not to be protected. What do
Hmm.
you think about that?
Well, I do know that there's other maybe yeah, they definitely can't make it mandatory for everybody to get the vaccine. But I do know that in order to go to certain universities and in order to go to public school, that certain shots are required.
Yeah,
So it could just be like that. Perhaps in order to be allowed to attend public schools, I can understand maybe it being mandatory in the future. But really, I'm sure that's a decision that people that are much smarter than you and I will make. Um, who knows? I hope that whatever the ultimate decision is, the least amount of people get affected by the coronavirus and we can stop the spread of it. But all you can do is really hope. I've heard that the vaccine that is in question is 98%
yeah.
successful. So I do know that 98% is pretty close to 100. So hopefully we're able to get that out as soon as possible and life is able to return back to normal.
Yeah, man. It's a little scary because you want this change, and we're hoping that this vaccine will make it all go away. Even though it's 95%, I think right now they have the highest one is 95% effective.
Hmm.
So let's see what happens with that. Hopefully, I want things to be resolved. We don't want to create chaos with a solution, right? But yeah, man, it's been a very interesting thing, seeing how the world reacts to the pandemic, how we work, how we do things, how we're surviving, with all these restrictions, with all these policies that the government has implemented among us, but they're not laws. They're just policies, right? That is
Hmm.
up to each state and each city and each government to kind of like, I guess, enforce, but at the same time, you got the people who are against that. How do you deal with people who are against something that the government is telling you to do? If it's not a policy, if it's not a law, if it's not a law, you cannot break the law because there's not a law to break, right? But at the same time, when it comes to self-awareness, and I don't want to say selfishness, but if you're only thinking about yourself, you know um, I'm not gonna take that again from you. But what I'm saying is, what about people who actually want to be part of society? Because you got people say, okay, you're a cheap or you're not a cheap, you know.
Hmm.
So when you follow laws, when you follow rules, them people consider others cheaps. What do you think is the best thing to do in the situation? When should we wear the mask just to avoid conflict, or should we just, what, fuck this, I'm just gonna not wear the mask because this is what I believe in, and if they want to do something about it, they can come talk to me and face me. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that that's an awesome question. I think that people definitely have very different opinions, and this is a very polarizing topic. I think we talked about it a little bit last time. Just the idea of a mask can get people ready to fight and hurt each other, whether or not to encourage people to wear masks, especially in like hospitals or grocery stores, public areas. Um, yeah, I think that the main motive that we should be pushing, especially with each other and as society and with our peers, is let's say you and I disagree on whether or not we should wear a mask. I think the best thing that we can do is discuss it and hear out each other's points because I'm pretty neutral regarding it. There's some people who they will not interact with others without them getting tested first for the coronavirus.
Yeah.
And I respect that as well. And I have a lot of friends on all sides of the spectrum of mask wearing. So I think the most important thing to do is to have not so much debates, but conversations. Why do you feel the way you feel? Because nobody's completely right. I mean, this is just these are opinions. Should we wear the mask? It's not like there's a right answer. Ultimately, in history, it's just an opinion. Do you want to risk this as much? Like, are you willing to take on certain risks? So yeah, I think the most important part is to just discuss what you believe with others instead of immediately turning hostile. Like a lot of people, the fact that they can't wear a mask or that they have to wear a mask in the grocery store, they start, pushing down carts and stuff like that. I've seen so many videos of the Karen compilations.
Also in restaurants too, man. I
Yeah,
noticed that in restaurants, a lot of businesses are enforcing this policy, and I think that if the people don't wanna, I think if the people don't wanna wear a mask, don't let them wear a mask. Okay. It's fine. I swear to God, there was this time, this Comcast employee, he came here to check something on the internet, and well, I don't know, I think it was a he, and he said, "Oh, I'm gonna come inside the house. Is that okay? Yeah, that's fine. Hey, do you have a mask? Yeah. Why? Oh, you need to wear one. What do you mean I need to wear one? This is my house.
hmm
Why do I have to wear a mask? This is my house, man. You know." And then he didn't say nothing after I said that. Like, I swear to God, this mask thing, in my opinion, is a little annoying. It's becoming really annoying. Like, I can't go somewhere to do something without wearing a mask.
yeah,
That's 90% of the time. And let me tell you, like, if I didn't have anything to do, if I didn't depend on the world around me, if I didn't need to socialize with the world to get things done, I would not be wearing a mask. That would be just me.
oh, definitely not, because you wouldn't be interacting with people. There'd be no need to wear a mask. Uh,
Yeah.
one question I have for you specifically, because we're talking about all the ways that coronavirus impacts society, like infinite ways.
Okay.
Um, in what ways specifically do you think impact coronavirus has an impact on personal health and personal training in that industry? Because I know that people are less likely to go to the gyms right now. So do you think that people's health is like decreasing because people are being sedentary at home, or do you think come New Year's there's going to be a huge rush for New Year's resolutions and gym memberships on January 1st, like always? Uh, yeah, how do you think that this impacts health as an industry?
Well, I can tell you that for starters with the gym, they're making people wear masks to work out. Can you believe that shit?
Even cardio?
Even cardio, you gotta have a mask on. And how you wear it, that's another story.
hmm
But they're not enforcing how you wear it. That's the good news. But I can't believe they're asking people to wear masks at the gym.
So do you think it would be appropriate to just have them wipe down the equipment
The
now?
thing is that people already wipe it down. Well,
Yeah,
well, at least at the gym I go to,
they're supposed to. Yeah.
it is supposed to, and I do it every time. Every time,
Of
okay.
course.
At least after I use it, I wipe it down or each bench, right? But what I'm saying is that when it comes to the gym, I think once everything closed in March or in April and March, whenever that, I don't know exactly when it happened, but during that time, it impacted a lot of people that had goals. Like every year, oh, my goal is to lose weight, or to
hmm
gain weight, or to get fit. I want to get fit to join the military, join the police force, just join whatever, or just because I want to look good, I want to feel good. I want to fit on this bikini. I want to fit in this dress. I want to fit in these pants. I want to be my old self. Whatever the reason they had, to lose that weight, to get fit. Well, guess what? Wasted year.
Yeah. So you think?
Wasted year. And I'm not saying completely wasted for the people that had those dreams. They're gone. It's gone. Another year. Let's hope 2021. It's still one. Now they have a big excuse. Now the coronavirus is the excuse why people that are procrastinators can come out with the excuse, right? For people who really wanted to do it, it sucks for them. Now health. When it comes to mental and emotional health, I think that was also a big hit on those people that really needed it. For example, when I had to take my pregnant wife during the doctor appointments, I couldn't go in with her.
hmm
Not a single time I was able to go in with her. The only time I went in with her was when it was labor, when she went into labor. That was the only time. And then when it came to sessions and I want to say therapies and things like that, it was hard because the online stuff, I don't like it, and what am I gonna do talking to somebody on the phone? When I don't know, I can't even trust the technology I'm using that somebody else could be hearing my conversation. At least when I'm in the office, I know somebody's not recording our conversations. So, and what was the other thing I was gonna tell you about? Oh, and when it came to the physical health, you couldn't go to the doctor's office unless you were dying, a leg was broken, or an arm was turned off, or your head was coming off, or your jaw was falling off. This is the only way you could go see a dentist and a doctor. I think there still are like that in some places. So that was also really concerning. I think that really reflected on people's health and loss of work. You lose work. Guess what? That interferes with your mental stability.
Definitely.
Your emotional stability. Now you're worried. Now you're stressed. And then now you got everybody at the house. You got the kids yelling all the time. You got the kids fighting. You got the kids making all kinds of noises. You got the wife complaining that she has to do more work or whatever. We're running out of toilet paper. We're running out of supplies. Yada yada yada. So if for the people who don't understand how sociology works, I get it. Not everybody can see society the same way, but we as sociologists, as majors, we know that everything connects.
Hmm.
You work, you go home, you go socialize. There's an industry that replenishes everything you use, whether you use it at school, at work, at the restaurant, or wherever you might be. Okay, but whenever you're at home, you have to provide for every single little thing for every second you live in this life.
Hmm.
And that's why we run out of things so fast.
Yeah, I mean, definitely there's commodification of everything, like we learned about. Everything is being paid for, basically every aspect of life, and especially when we're home with the coronavirus, uh, it's emphasized. For example, um, just entertainment, the way that entertainment is being paid for has completely changed. Uh, there's like a surge. If you saw the stock market price of Netflix towards the beginning of the coronavirus, um, it's
We're
just.
gonna talk about stocks, man. Oh, you're gonna get me into it,
I mean,
man. You're
that's
gonna
just
get me into it, man.
that's just one example.
That's what I've been doing. That's what I've been doing, by the way, since the
Mhm.
pandemic started.
Lots of
Stocks.
stuff, staying entertained. Yeah. So I mean, it's just showing that.
It's being a roller coaster.
Oh yeah, it's gotta be, yeah. But whenever people at home still have to be entertained, so all sorts of at-home entertainments are being definitely pushed on society right now, and it's very interesting to see. It's very interesting to see the way that everything connects, like you mentioned, in a structural functionalist perspective, like we learned about uh, for those who are Durkheimian thinkers.
Okay.
Yeah, everything is connected, man. Society is an organism, and when there's a variable that affects it, then it affects every single part of society. So yeah, I can imagine home life was changed by the coronavirus. Entertainment, what you do in your free time, what you like to read, probably. Yeah, everything has been impacted. So
But you talked about stocks, man, and I'll try not to stick in it because
I love
on
talking about
education,
stocks.
I love it too. But well, we're gonna make a topic for stocks. I promise. I promise, and we're gonna
Mhm.
have a whole hour to talk about it.
All right, deal.
But yeah, man. It's amazing how something shifted, and you can also see it in how it reflects on your stocks. Okay. Uh, how does it reflect? I'm gonna give you an example. Zoom, that stock went like three times its price. Amazon went twice, if not three times its price. Netflix, I don't have to say it for people who are following the stock market. That went up three more times,
Hmm.
if not twice, at least twice, right? And then what was the other one? What was the other one that went up?
I'm sure there's tons of them. I'm sure they'll come to mind in a minute.
Look, Walmart, Clorox,
Oh yeah,
all
yeah.
those guys, they never dropped. Amazon never dropped.
I'm
I
sure.
mean, they dropped in March, but after that drop, everything went up.
Yeah, sir.
Tesla didn't lose anything. As a matter of fact, they went up from 800, 900 to 2,000, and they
That's good.
split. That's why they're cheap now, because they split.
Hmm.
But I'm telling you, man, so some people just never went broke. Some people actually got richer.
Yeah, if you
in
know
this
how to follow the
pandemic.
stock market
Yeah.
correctly. But yeah, I had never even heard of Zoom prior to the coronavirus. I had never heard of Zoom. Everybody used Skype, you know, and then immediately professors are saying,
Zoom,
download
zoom, zoom,
Zoom.
zoom,
Yeah,
zoom,
it's
zoom.
like, where is this coming from? You check the stock, it's shooting up, and you're like, all right, well, that makes sense. So yeah, it's just being able to follow everything and be able to predict the stock market. Um, I mean, yeah, I wish hindsight was 2020. I mean, hindsight's 2020. I wish I was able to invest in some of these industries prior to the coronavirus, shift all the money into at-home entertainment like Netflix, Zoom, that kind of thing. That would have been all right. My portfolio would have tripled in value, but um, at least it'll help us if there's anything like this in the future, any kind of lockdowns, then we definitely know where to invest. And speaking of that, you mentioned the potential new lockdown because there's another spike in corona cases.
Yeah.
So, I mean, now might be a time to be putting more and more investments into, Netflix, Amazon, all that. Especially Amazon with delivery, at home grocery delivery now. Everything you could possibly need in life, you can get from Amazon. You can even get a house from Amazon. So,
No way.
yeah, yeah.
I know you can get a car, but a house in Amazon?
I didn't know you could get a car, but yeah, you can. It's just like a house that you put together. It's basically like a cabin, $16,000, I think. When I saw a couple years ago,
No
but
way.
no, now I'm sure you can get more than just one. It's like a mobile home kind of thing. But yeah, you can get anything you want from Amazon. So absolutely insane, and it makes sense that they're thriving right now in the stock market.
That is crazy, man. What's Amazon gonna offer next?
I mean, any way that they can make money, right? Then they will probably pursue. So I guess that who knows what they're gonna offer next.
I mean, they already do Amazon Prime. I mean, they already do the movies and stuff, right? They already do that. Um,
They're probably going to find ways to go into healthcare and every other way that can make money. Speaking of that, I saw that Uber is either they started already or they're going to start, but I believe that they already started delivering prescription. Did you see that?
no, this is my first time hearing about it.
Yeah, for individuals that don't want to go to the pharmacy because of fear of, well, maybe for convenience, but
Fear
also
of the
the
coronavirus.
coronavirus. Yeah, there's a number of reasons, but now Uber will be commodifying that and delivering prescriptions. So that's super neat. I mean, it's showing more and more ways that technology is adapting around the coronavirus. Because I would never have thought of that before. It's not that big a
Yeah.
deal to go pick up a prescription, but I guess it makes sense.
Yeah, man, it's crazy how some things have changed so much that I think some things are here to stay.
You think
I,
like some
I
industries
I
will
think some things are here to stay. For example, do you know the transition that I've been hearing about um Uber? I don't know if it's Uber or Tesla. They're trying to come up with ways to do
what driverless cars?
self-driving cars
Yeah,
or electric cars. They're trying to make cars electric. I think California they're trying to come out with some kind of goal like in a certain amount in a certain year they want all cars to be electric in
I
California.
did hear that. I can't remember. It's like 2035, 2030, something like that, right?
I think that was China.
Oh, but I do remember
But
hearing.
also California. And I don't know the year, but
Yeah,
they're serious about it, about emissions free state or something like that, trying to make everything electric. Good for Tesla.
yeah,
It's gonna be good business.
but it's going to be a state policy as well at that point, right?
But they have to make affordable cars. Electric cars are not cheap right now.
Not yet, not yet, not yet. But by that time, hopefully, um, older cars will be cheaper, so they can always get that. Um, yeah, I don't know. I do think that some things are here to stay, and other things will naturally be innovated. So I think that self-driving cars will definitely be a thing in the future. Because as much fun as it is to drive a car, I'm sure that there'll always be people that drive cars. But how convenient it is for a self-driving car. Imagine taking a road trip to the other side of the country and never even touching the wheel. That's like 15 hours of driving or more.
Yeah.
That You can be doing homework or reading or emailing, watching a movie, anything that you'd rather be doing.
Checking your phone, Facebook, Instagram. What they do? There's something called TikTok.
I
TikTok
know about
now.
TikTok, yeah.
Oh man, we're gonna have a lot of fun.
Yeah, so I'm saying I would rather do any of those things than drive. There's very few times where I'd rather be driving than not. Driving is fun, but not 15 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for some people, I'm sure it is, but not for me. I have a TikTok related question for you. Do you know much about TikTok?
Uh, I'm gonna go with a no because I don't. I'm not involved in the TikTok community, so I'm gonna go with a no on that.
Okay, well, I'll do my best to have a very brief
Sure.
summary of TikTok and everything that's surrounding it. So,
All right.
yeah, TikTok basically it's like I can't remember exactly how long the videos are. I'm gonna say no longer than 30 seconds max. They're pretty short.
How long do they take to make though?
It depends on the video. So I'm sure some people put a ton of work into designing the props and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, the whole point of it is it's a very short video that just repeats and repeats and repeats, and you watch it, and then you slide to the next video. It could be anything like cute animals. It could be some sports clips where somebody like does a 360 dunk or
You
something
seen the
crazy.
baby face ones?
Yeah, all of those things. So the cool thing to me, the interesting thing rather, maybe not cool, about TikTok is the algorithm. Everybody calls it the algorithm. Um,
Yeah, that's true. It's very fascinating.
the algorithm, it's basically it checks how long you're looking at each one of the TikToks, how quickly you switch away from it. It checks how many people you send it to, who you're following, basically every single aspect, the amount of screen time that you're using, every aspect of TikToks, it sees what are you going to watch because it wants you to stay on the app as long as possible because the longer you stay on the app, ultimately the more ads are played, which means ultimately the company gets more money, right?
Of
So
course.
so it's using all the data to find exactly what you want to see so that you stay on the app longer, right? It's like getting in our brains. But that's the whole point of the algorithm. We want to be entertained. We don't want a bad algorithm.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy how these social media engineers, I call them engineers, because they come out with the ideas on how to
Yeah.
keep people on the phone, on the app, and addictive. It's very addicting. I want to one day I'm gonna have a podcast about technology and how it has influenced us as humans,
Hmm.
and how it affects us in a good way and in a bad way. Because no good deed comes unpunished, right? Is that one of the sayings?
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah. So I feel like, yeah, everything sounds happy and everything, but it comes with the price.
Yep, yep.
Anxiety, depression. I don't know. Over. I don't know if I want to say over analyzation to the point where you have a lot of emotions involved in the analyzation you put into the app or whatever. So, like I said, technology has definitely been a look. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all these guys went big this year because
Hmm.
everybody's at home. So if you're already in those platforms, if you were already there and you had nothing to do at home, guess what? Algorithm, up the
Oh
roof
yeah.
on everything. Amazon, Netflix, everything where you need to interact with to communicate with people, socialize with people. It's insane.
Hmm.
It's crazy, man. How we didn't see technology as important, how as the role that it has played this year in our lives.
Yeah. I mean, think about how often we use technology. And so, Max Weber, you might remember him from our sociological theory classes. Uh, he said that
Yeah, I remember.
that technology, well, basically everything is technology. Like if a monkey uses a rock to open a coconut, right? That rock is technology. The fact that he's
Right.
using it to help him. So yeah, everything is technology, but more recently, now we're defining technology as like anything that's electronic. But yeah, it's influenced every single aspect of our life. And as Max Weber says, while there is a positive side to technology, for example, the self-driving cars, while there is a positive aspect, for example, where we no longer have to drive, right? um, there's definitely negative sides too. Like if you want to look at the truck drivers, right? So there's going to be self-driving trucks.
Yeah.
That's like the whole thing that the Andrew Yang campaign was running on. He always used the example of self-driving trucks. There's going to be self-driving trucks pretty soon, and that he said that truck driver is still the number one job in the U.S. So if that's completely replaced, while that is going to be very convenient, the cost for goods and transportation is going to be cut a ton. It's also negative because the number one job in the U.S. is suddenly no longer going to be necessary. We're going to have to find out what to do with millions and millions of Americans that are truck drivers. So yeah, I think it's so interesting to see technology is convenient, but it also destroys the way of life that was. We have to adapt around technology, and also we're adapting technology to make life more and more convenient. At some point, life is just going to be so convenient because of technology.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen the movie Wall-E?
Yeah. I cried. I think I cried. It was very emotional.
Yeah, so you know how at the end it's like humans are just sitting on a boat and they're like, I mean, on their
They get
little,
fat.
yeah, they're fat. Like
They don't want to do shit.
technology is their servant, basically. A very, very real depiction by Disney or Pixar.
That's a very good movie where you can actually have a good sociological observation on how we as humans um, turned into when we rely so much on technology and how technology facilitates everything, in our
Mhm.
lives. For example, like I think that as humans we have to have a purpose, and this government, the government that we have at this moment, that for example, there are leaders and there are not leaders. Okay,
Mhm.
we have leaders to guide us as humans, as a human race, and then we are followers, human followers, that we just hope that whoever we follow is for best interest, right? Now, back then when there was no technology, when there was no cars, so there was, I just say we were just evolving. We had to be strong to survive. Okay, we had to learn how to hunt to survive. We had to learn how to mate to reproduce. We had to be healthy. We
Mhm.
had to be fit. And let me ask you this: now, in today's world, what is considered being fit? And I don't want to just get into the physical aspect. What does being a fit individual in today's society uh, uh,
Entail.
needs to be
Yeah.
to be fit and succeed in society now?
Well, awesome question, and that reminded me of a theory.
Of
Um,
course, of course, it does.
yes. So uh, I'm actually reading this book right now called The Righteous Mind by Jonathan Haidt and Haidt, and it's about evolutionary psychology. So evolutionary psychology is exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah,
It's the way that we as humans, but also every single species, evolves to have the psychology that it has. The like every aspect of our psychology is due to evolution. So, what is a fit individual right now? A fit individual right now is somebody who has a high IQ as well as NQ. So, somebody that is very sociable and somebody that is very intelligent by the ways that we determine intelligence. And a fit individual, also in our eyes, is somebody who's physically fit. So yeah, it's for to have a fit
it's
individual.
getting competitive, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
it's
getting very competitive. It's not about the physical aspect anymore.
now there's a lot more to it now. And the theory that I mentioned earlier, it says that the you know how like a bird has a mating ritual where it puffs up its
Yeah.
back tail feather and
It
and
dances.
does a little dance, maybe chirps a couple times,
Yeah.
and then the female bird is like, all right, and then she goes over there, right? Um, so the theory that I was talking about is that every aspect of society, socializing, is part of the human mating ritual.
It
The
is.
Yeah, the fact that we hold these positions amongst our societies, like teacher, politicians, all this, every aspect, the intelligence, um,
Professional athletes.
Yes, I mean literally everything. It's a part of the mating ritual. Because we try to like two males,
Impress.
yeah, two males try to duel, right? They compete over, you know, being attractive to the women by uh, being more impressive with mentally, physically, being suave with their words, all of that. So yeah, to ultimately come back to your question, what is a fit individual? A fit individual is somebody who, yeah, is both athletically fit, physically fit, mentally fit, and somebody who is strong in their opinions. I think that's very strong. That's very important today. But it's constantly changing, and not only that, it's different amongst different societies. So somebody that might be fit here,
Uh-huh.
or somebody that we might think is fit, if you put them into like a military environment or into, you know, just a different
Good, good.
environment,
Yeah,
they
you.
they might
Uh-huh.
no longer be fit. So yeah, it's definitely a relative thing, but generally it requires being physically and mentally fit. I mean, what do you think? How do you think the definition of fit, or, you know, generally an attractive human being in all aspects, how do you think that's changing and will change?
I'm glad that you brought up the IQ, physical, and NQ. You say EQ or NQ?
NQ, yeah, it's like a networking quotient. So it's
What about
basically,
EQ? Does that is important? Emotional.
yeah. I mean, that's one too. So emotional intelligence also is, there's so many types of intelligence, and all of them are very important.
Okay, because the thing is that um, I think it's getting very competitive, and I think IQ is the top one. Now, the question is IQ. There is a correlation with IQ and success,
Hmm.
but at the same time, IQ does not quantify connections. You said networking,
Hmm.
all right? Do you believe sometimes people are born with the NQ ahead of their time before they hit the IQ because they were born with political families, rich families, inherent families, people with high education families, So I think the NQ is easy accessible depending on who you are
Hmm.
than the IQ, because the IQ has to be something you have to work for, whether it's by school experience or everything we've been through as kids, school, college, at work, life experiences, and then the physical. I think a lot of us forget about the physical because we are evolving with the technology, and that now that whoever uses technology the most, the best, is considered adaptable. It's considered somebody who is, what's it called, who is fit.
Hmm.
You know how to use TikTok good. Oh, he's fit
Yeah,
to mate.
an admirable
Fit to
person.
mate. Oh, this guy makes money. This guy is rich. I don't want to say rich, stable, very stable.
Hmm.
You figure out ways to make income. You figure out ways to get a job. You figure out ways to get a girl. You figure out ways to get a car. You figure out ways to get a house. All those things contribute into the mating ritual, right?
Hmm.
That you brought up. So at the end of the day, if you can do all those things, and there are many levels of how you can do this.
Hmm.
Your first house might not be the best house. Your first car might not be the best car.
It
Your
definitely
first wife
wasn't.
might not be the best wife, and so on, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But the question is, do we evolve? Do we move on from there, or do we get stuck there, or do we stay there? It depends on ambition. We
Hmm.
forget ambition. If you have no ambition, I don't care how high your IQ is. I don't care how your network is. You never get anywhere.
Hmm.
I think ambition is very important for you to stay fit, not just become fit, stay fit.
Yeah, you need to keep on playing along, because the definition of fit, as we talked about, the definition of fit is changing.
Uh huh.
So therefore, yeah, I guess if you want to stay ideal to society, then you need to continue playing the game of house that society is playing.
And it sucks because there's a lot of things that I do not agree with society. Like I don't like technology. I don't like to rely on technology to survive. I don't.
Hmm.
Okay, but unfortunately, I live in a city society environment where technology is a must for me to communicate. As a matter of fact, we're using technology right now to communicate with the world.
Hmm.
Okay, so I hate using technology to do that, but it's part of what we have to do to survive or to do something or to make a product. I wish we were back in the 1900s. There was technology wasn't big. It was less problems, less challenges. It was, I don't want to say relaxed, but but also I think with technology, education comes to education. You get more educated. I think technology has also open up a world of easy access to education.
Hmm.
I think people can get educated faster. Whenever I need to know something, I just Google it. Now,
That's
I'm not saying
awesome.
Google's always right, but it helps.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, technology. So you asked the question, what's to me, what's considered fit? Everything you said, you know,
And how's it changing?
how it's changing and how it's changing. Is rely on technology to be able to show or skill,
Hmm.
to show what we can do, to show our ritual, to show our so not a ritual, to show our capabilities to fit in and survive.
Hmm.
If you can do that in society, I think that your rituals or your mating ritual become easier.
Yeah.
I mean, the girls see, and I'm gonna tell you this: a lot of people say, "Oh, girls, they're not there for the money." Well, it's not about the money. It's about being mating with somebody, being with somebody that's not gonna drag you down.
Hmm.
And not everybody has this instinct, Hans. I'm gonna let you know right now. People have a hard time developing this instinct, and I don't know. Sometimes I wonder how I developed it. I don't know if because I had many challenges in my life that helped me develop this instinct. But since I was a kid, I had a hard life, and maybe that helped. But not everybody is the same way, Hans. I'm gonna let you know right now. It's tough. Some people have a hard time fitting in, being fit in the society we are in today. The older you get, the harder it becomes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you've heard about ageism. I mean, there's a lot of types of discrimination, and one of them is ageism, right? So it's basically the discrimination based on age. And while sometimes it does play into effect, like younger people affect ageism affects younger people in that it might be harder to get a job because you are not as old, therefore you probably don't have as much experience. But ageism also plays into this idea of attractiveness and fitness in that if you're older, maybe you're less technologically able, then you're less attractive, definitely in the eyes of society. And one
Yeah.
thing I thought that was interesting that you mentioned is the idea of NQ and IQ is like IQ, it definitely is biased in that it favors uh, certain individuals. It was found that people from rural communities did worse on IQ tests than people in urban communities. If you were born with your IQ, then where you live shouldn't have that much an impact unless the genetics is that crazy in the geographical area. So yeah, IQ and it's also with NQ, it definitely depends on how you're raised. I mean, we're both sociology majors, so we think that nurture has a lot more to do with the way an individual thinks and behaves than nature does, right? So, yeah, if somebody, let's say somebody is born with all the right genetics to have the best networking quotient.
Hold on. Before you keep going, when you mean network, I thought you were talking about connections, but I guess
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's like,
because you went into DNA, so that's why I was like, okay,
okay,
never
yeah,
mind, never mind.
somebody is born with the genetics, like to be very extroverted, right? I think that almost every part of somebody's personality is due to the way that they're raised, but not all of it. Some people are less willing to express themselves. They're not as good with communication, that kind of thing. So let's say that they're born with all the right genetics. If they still are like never given the opportunity to speak at home, like where they're raised, then naturally their networking will not be great because they weren't raised in an environment that encouraged networking. So I think, yeah, so much of IQ, NQ, most of the qualities that allow people to be attractive and successful in society. Almost all of that is up to how they're raised, up to nurture rather than nature. So yeah, I think about that all the time. I think that's the question I get asked most as a sociology major, and maybe
Yeah.
you too. Like, what has a bigger impact on somebody's personality, nature or nurture? Do you have an opinion on that, or do you agree that it's mostly the way somebody's raised rather than their genetics?
I agree. Also, culture. I
Well,
think
yeah, that's nurture. Yeah,
I believe that in your culture, in some cultures, women are not supposed to like speak or
yeah,
represent. But in America, it's not like that.
yeah. It's very different
It's
here.
very
It's
different
very
here.
different in France,
Yeah, in
everywhere.
many countries, the woman is actually the one that's, if that's the only one around, guess what? She's gonna have to take charge, right?
Definitely.
And so and also when you're the youngest, it also depends on where you stand in the anarchy, right? In the household, you're the older brother, the younger brother, the middle brother. If
Oh
you're the
yeah.
only son, I think that also can impact the way you network, right? But
Do you think that has a bigger impact than genetics? Because uh, most of academia would say that it's 50-50. Like,
okay,
genetics are half, right?
okay.
And then how you're raised is the other half. But I feel
But how
like,
you raise can be manipulated.
yeah, that's I agree. That's why I think that it's at least 80% nurture, 20% nature. But you ask most people and they say it's 50-50. Some people say it's leaning nature. Like, if you take somebody out of the wrong environment, then they can adjust. And so that it actually is just genetics after all. But yeah, no, I think that we're on the same page, and it is a lot nurture. It's the environment that you're in, the culture that you're in, the people that you surround yourself with. All of that is
It's true,
social.
man. It's
Yeah.
true. It's true. It's so true, man. Because if me and you would have grown up with rich political figures around their families, how do you think we would have been? You
Oh, we would
know,
have been talking all snobby, and we
we would
would.
be dressing a certain way. We'll be using a certain equipment. We'll
Oh
be in a
yeah,
certain place. We'll be in a certain neighborhood. We'll be in a certain social status.
different
So we
haircuts,
can just
everything.
imagine, right?
Yeah.
How everything influences by the way by your environment.
Hmm.
Environment it's important. So it's just so much into this, man. It's just so many factors that we can talk about all the factors that involves in how to be the proper fit individual in our today's society.
There's no such thing. Yeah.
Yeah, to it all depends on your environment. Once again, let's say, look, I'm a guy who, let's just say, look, I didn't even finish high school. I got a decent job. I got a decent car. I got renting an apartment. But if in my environment I'm doing okay, I'm gonna be able to survive in that environment. I'll be able to mate,
Hmm.
create a good ritual to mate,
Yeah.
and I'll be able to be just fine. But it all depends on the environment you want to be and you want to live. So if you want to be a middle class individual, if you want to be a high middle class, you want to be a high class, you have to take challenges. You have to face challenges. You have to go and earn it. You have to go and fight.
Hmm.
You have to go and seek the fight. The fight's not gonna come to you. When you want to go on top, the fight will never come. You gotta
Hmm.
go to the fight to get it. Okay, and a lot of people don't understand that.
Don't you think it's crazy that the idea of fit changes so much? Like, if I tell you that there's an individual out there, let's say his name's Joseph, he's unemployed, he never finished high school, and he, let's say, has very little interest outside of playing video games, right? If I just tell you that much, you might think, well, Joseph's not that successful a dude, and Joseph isn't that attractive a guy. But if I suddenly say, well, he plays video games professionally,
Okay.
and he gets uh, he gets paid for it. Let's say he's making $1 million a year. All of a sudden, that one aspect, the idea that he's financially stable, makes him a fit individual. So it's a whole. That's our American society. That's
Money
capitalism.
talks. Money talks, huh?
Yeah, that's
And money
capitalism for
blocks.
us.
Money actually helps. If I had to decide between being rich and poor, I want to be rich.
Of course.
If I have to be between smart and rich, I think I want to be rich. Again, if I want to be, struggling, or I want to have a financial security, I want financial security. Everybody needs that in order to survive in this world. Nothing is free.
Hmm.
There's always a price for something, right? And if somebody told me, look, would you rather go to college or get $1 million? Sorry, $1 million.
Oh yeah, you can go to college with
Yeah.
$1 million.
So you know what I'm saying? I can go to college and doesn't mean I'll be a millionaire in my life ever, right?
Hmm.
But if somebody offered me $1 million,
It's a lot of vacations.
and not just vacations, but if you want to
You can
invest
invest
it,
it.
if
Yeah,
you,
that's the main thing.
you see, that's the mindset of a hunter. But not everybody's like that, Hans. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people who will go out there and spend it on bullshit. Okay.
I mean, if I got $500 for free, I would invest most of it. Much less $1 million.
Or maybe you use it the best way possible. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah,
do something
hold on
productive
to it.
with it. You're
Yeah,
not just gonna go and spend it at the strip club, right?
yeah,
So
preferably not.
so you got people that do that because it's part of their culture. It's part of the way they grew up. It's what they saw,
Yeah,
growing up, and that's what makes them happy. Alcohol, drugs, women. And don't get me wrong, I like all that. I don't mind doing it, but the thing is that it's not my lifestyle. It's not
that's it.
something I would do all the time. It's not something I will actually consider doing if somebody offered me a $10,000 grant or a $10,000 bonus. I won't go ahead and spend it like that. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
There's a time and case and occasion for everything, and unfortunately, that's not the mindset that I will have, and maybe you won't either. But you got people that do. So. Uh,
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I think I definitely see people spend money in ways that uh, surprises me a ton. And
uh-huh.
I think it ultimately comes down to just how you're raised, and I mean your interests, and not only how you're raised, but also what you find entertaining, maybe your friend groups, the movies that you watch, all sorts of things.
Yeah, man. Uh, you know, just imagine if you had a kid growing up in an environment, and then whenever he grows up, he's not the role model society expects him to be,
Hmm.
right? How do you, how do you, how can we judge an individual like that? Um, just because you know, we didn't understand their lifestyle from the beginning, you know.
Yeah, I think that just you have to. Everybody's very unique, and you can't judge an individual if he didn't turn out as expected. Because I mean, think about it. A lot of people were expected to be very different than what they were. I'm sure there's a lot of, if you go back in history quite a bit, there's people that were expected to still have racial prejudices, and then they went against the grain, and ultimately, um, I believe that that's a positive thing. And even if they weren't expected by their parents to have such a crazy paradigm shift, they still did, and that's for the best. So yeah, I think it's ultimately good if some people defy expectations, because really, expectations are meant to be broken. Expectations are not always correct. I'd say for the most part, they're incorrect. So yeah, I think ultimately, whenever people defy expectations, it's for the better.
Yeah, man. Um, Everybody has a different journey. Everybody walks a different path. Everybody comes from different places. Everybody grows up with different privileges, whoa, and but at the end of the day, man, I think it's all about the best you can do to survive in the world you were born in,
Hmm.
and we cannot compare our lifestyle to somebody who has never had any, like, I come from nothing, okay?
Hmm.
But for example, let's say somebody grew up in a rich family and somebody who grew up in a very poor family, third world country poor family, okay?
Hmm.
Very poor. How we can never compare both of their success. It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's just, you know an immigrant coming from nothing, migrating here to the United States, having an apartment, having a car, having a nice job. That's success already for them.
Yeah, I agree.
And for somebody who grew up in a rich family,
If they have slightly less
they
success.
have they have a different ball game. They have a different a different terrain to survive in. It just, you can't compare both. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you take somebody from a rich family and you, let's say that some job opportunities fall out for them and they end up working as a manager at a sporting goods store, then they might see that as a huge failure. But because maybe they expected to have a higher position in a major company. But if you take somebody from uh, an immigrant, and they're coming from nothing, and they get an opportunity to be as a manager at a sporting goods store, that might be a career for them, and they love that. So yeah, it's all about perspective. Perspective is so powerful, and it changes everything. So
Yeah, and so anyway, just to wrap the topic up, man, for the coronavirus, many things changed. And before I go, I would like to ask you, how is this gonna influence us in the future? How is this gonna how far along is this gonna affect us for once everything is said and done? Because
well,
remember, people died during this coronavirus. We don't know if it was because of the coronavirus, or we don't know if because of the coronavirus people were not properly assisted,
mhm.
or think. What do you think? What do you think is gonna happen from now on once all this is gone? How is this gonna affect us?
Well, I mean, my guess is just as much as anybody else is guessing. Hopefully, in the future, we look back at this as just a learning opportunity. We find out maybe to be better with implementing vaccines and getting them tested very quickly. Um, I think this will change the way that families see each other, because there's a lot of families that are interacting more with each other now than they ever have, because maybe people are at work all the time, but now the mom has to be home or the dad has to be home to take care of the kids. So I think it'll impact family life a lot. And like I mentioned at the beginning, I think that one of the major impacts of the coronavirus will be on higher level education, especially being online. I think that online education will continue to be innovated, to where it's accepted. So I look forward to a future where some people will be educated completely online for their whole entire academic careers, from kindergarten up until after college. It'll be, or maybe they can even get their master's online, because as technology continues to innovate, the ability to educate people will be better and better. So I think that that's going to be the major impact, is that education will be different, and working from home will be different.
Yeah,
Maybe people will just be home all day. They'll be home for education, they'll be home for work, and they'll be home for hobbies.
yeah. I think I agree with you on that as well. I think that some jobs are here to stay. Some the way you work, some ways to work, the ways to make income are
Yeah.
here to stay. I think they were offered, but they were not influenced so much until now
Hmm.
by the way people have used technology. And and at the same time, I feel like some positions that were lost during the pandemic, in work at work in the workforce, are gonna be pretty much being done from home.
Hmm.
And I don't know if that's good for payroll for big companies and corporations, or that's bad for corporation. I think it's good. Every time they say money is good, right? Uh,
Yeah, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out in about, let's say, maybe a year or so. We'll see where the employment rate is at, if it's still down, and if so,
they're gonna blame Trump. We already know, but
well, they're gonna blame the coronavirus. I'm sure some people are gonna blame Trump. People are gonna blame whoever they want to blame.
yeah, the media manipulates things too, man. And that's
Has an
another story.
agenda,
That's
yeah.
another topic, because I think the media influences the way we see the world, and the way we see the news, the way we react to the news, some news.
Yeah, I think the biggest impact of Trump's presidency is that the average Joe, most citizens, no longer just see all media as third party, neutral media sources,
Yeah,
but now it's like some news stations have an agenda. Most news stations have an agenda. I can't
it's
think
true.
of any news station that doesn't have an agenda more than just giving out information, like unbiased, factual information. Like I don't want to name any news sources, because I'm sure somebody will be offended for the main news source. But I like to watch news,
CNN.
and well, MSNBC is my main one. But I can definitely say MSNBC has a political leaning. CNN has a political leaning, and all of them do. And
What do you think about Fox?
I mean, I don't personally watch Fox. I think MSNBC is the most entertaining, so
Oh,
I
okay.
just I watch it to watch it. But I do know
They
that.
troll so hard on this administration. You don't understand.
Oh,
They troll so hard on it. It's crazy.
Definitely. But
Entertaining. You're right. It's entertaining.
yeah, I think that was one of the biggest impacts of the Trump presidency is that people don't no longer just trust the media to give them facts. He said this is fake news, and people are like, wait a second, we're just being fed lies. And so I think that's the main impact is people are now a little bit more careful about where they
Hmm.
get their news source from.
So okay, yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, now like I don't know what to believe now. When I see the news, I want to be informed, but the question is, how do I know the information is correct?
I mean, you got to check a lot of different sites and or a lot of
But
different
a lot of people,
sources.
but a lot of people are not like that. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people they rely on news sources,
Then
press sources,
and that's
media sources to give the proper information of people make their best decisions. But
and
when it's lenient to one side, when it's more lenient to one side than the other, of course that is the agenda they're playing, and I think that of course, and I know people should do research. Most people are not gonna do research. They're too tired. They're home. It's 10 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock. I want to get home. I want to eat dinner. While I eat dinner, I want to watch the news. I'm gonna look at TikTok while it's on commercial, and then you
yeah.
move on, right? But
Mhm.
you're hoping that the information that the media is showing you, that the press is releasing, that is telling you, that is storylining you, it's accurate.
You got to hope so,
You
but
gotta hope so.
now we found out that maybe that's not only maybe is that not always the case, but that's not always the case. You
Yeah,
know, some all news sources have agendas. They want to they want to produce success for themselves. So maybe they'll find out if we run these kind of stories, it'll be more success, or they want to produce success for the people that are funding them, the companies that they have partnerships with. So, I mean, it could be so deep and so many variables involved, but yeah, I think that hopefully media will be more trustworthy in the future, whatever that means, because you can never really trust you. The
uh,
only way that you can trust media is if you hear stories on both sides and you say, well, I wouldn't expect for them to say that, but good on them.
yeah. One of the things I would love the media to change. I don't want to get off topic, but I know we're supposed to be wrapping it up. But I wish they were worried less about the ratings and they'll care more about the population.
Which would help the rating.
Uh,
And after
But
all,
it depends, man. Because honestly, when you try to bring people together, their ratings are never good. When you
yeah,
try, when to them, okay, to them, when you make a topic very controversial and very controversial. I think that's as simple as I can put it. It has more ratings. But if you say, "Oh, Hans, hero of the day, he saved 10 lives," from the flood in Houston, versus Hans killed 10 people with a machine gun, which one's gonna get a better storyline? The machine gun story, right?
oh yeah, you're saying like more
So, so,
clicks.
so this is what I'm talking about. If the media gave good stories as well, good things happen in life. Not everything is negative.
Hmm.
Good things happen.
Well, yeah, that's what we were
Do
talking about
your
earlier.
work. Do your work, media. So just like you research negative shit, research good shit to share with the world. Bring the world together. Don't separate it.
That's why people are watching TikToks
Well,
to look
yeah.
at to look at to
Just
look
wait
at
until
cute
it gets
animals.
political. Just wait.
It already has.
Oh,
TikTok's already gotten political. Yeah.
my man. Yeah.
Trump already tried to ban TikTok.
Oh
So
yeah. Oh yeah. I hear about the banning that people are trying banning or blocking or doing some censoring, right?
yeah, I mean that's
Another topic. So much to talk. Amazing. So much to
another day.
talk.
Well, thank you very
So
much.
much to talk, man. Anyways, for the people that have been impacted by the COVID-19, um, just whether it's positive or negative, if it's positive, good on you. Congrats. It hasn't been easy. For the people that have graduated this year during the pandemic, hopefully your graduation will come.
Good luck.
Yeah, hopefully. I say hopefully because I don't know if we're gonna be the the forgotten class of 2020. But congratulations for the people that been doing well, for the people that being on top of their game, for the people that took advantage of the situation, because a lot of people know how to take advantage when situation arrives. And for the people who didn't do so well, I just hope your life turns around when things start to like re- normalize, right?
Yeah.
When things start to get better, and I my condolences to all the people that lost loved ones in this pandemic, whether it was for the pandemic or whether it was something else because of lack of medical attention. My condolences. I know it has been a very rough year for the people that had goals, financial goals, physical goals, or any kind of goal that you had. I just hope that next year will be the year where you can make things happen. And then, for the people that lost their jobs, I hope that you get your job. I hope that you find something better. I hope something opens up because, like I said, it's been a rough year. Also, guys, please follow the Velasquez Blog Show on Facebook. And if you don't, do it on YouTube as well. We appreciate it. We also have Spotify, so you're gonna be able to hear this conversation on Spotify as well. Um, Let me see here. Don't for the people that are following us on Facebook, please don't forget there is a raffle at the end of the month. All you have to do is like the video, comment on the video, follow the page, and you automatically qualify to be in the raffle. Okay, it's free. It's free 99.
Oh,
Okay.
nice. I can afford that.
So just we appreciate the love and the feedback you guys are give to the show. Let me see. Our sponsors, of course, Iron Gator Fitness. Earn your sweat for the people that want to get fit, want to eat healthy, and want to start a physical exercise and a better routine. To live a better lifestyle. Iron Gator Fitness. Silver Plan Choice for the people that are looking for healthcare insurance, life insurance, or Medicaid, Medicare. Those they are the ones to help you out. They speak English, Spanish, and Vietnamese. Club Expo, new club in Houston, Texas, around Bel Air and Gessner. Go ahead. You being stuck at home. You being bored. You just tired of being at home, tired of the routine. You want to go out and have some fun with some friends. Go ahead and do that. Club Expo. Your life, your fun, your time, so thank you guys for watching the podcast, listening to the podcast. Thank you, Hans, once again
Thank you very much for
for
having me
being
on.
here. I hope it was an interesting topic. I trust me, I know there is so much to talk about. There's just so much that connects the coronavirus, but unfortunately we can't be here all day. I want to be here, but we
Yeah.
don't we have to go. But um you know it was a very interesting topic. I wish we could have talked more about it.
Hmm.
And for you guys, please don't forget, we also do this Zoom. Every time we do a live, there's a Zoom link. You guys are more than welcome to join it. Go ahead and just click on the Zoom link or link to us, Zoom with us. If you have an opinion, don't hesitate. We are here to make everybody part of the show, whether you're here in the studio or you want to do it through Zoom. Anyone's welcome. Everybody's welcome to give their opinion, and it will be respected, of course. And at the end of the day, what matters is interacting with the world to bring everybody together and not apart. Um, and that's all I have, guys. Thank you so much for the support. And I hope you guys enjoy this podcast. And we'll see you guys next week. Uh, Take care.